when I close my eyes. 'Cause I'm running with shoes untied, but don't stop me, stop me.
It's just another way to say when the time's right to frame your mind like the frame on Starry Night. I'm just numb inside, Can I stay the night? Got me feeling like I'm just paralyzed. Why you're paralyzed? Telling me to stay the night, but I'm a parasite. I'm a parasite. I'm a parasite.
The goal of this video is to help you have more fun at your software engineering job. A little bit about myself. My name is Rishi Carey. I have been a software engineer for 6 years, 5.5 years, a little over 6 years, 5.5 years at CNN, the large media organization, up until very recently. And before that, I worked at a startup called ThinkTech for 10 months. And then before that, I was actually worked in finance. I was as an investment banker for a company called Baird. So that's my background in a nutshell. Yeah, I was investment banker. I realized I had a pull towards coding and honestly wanted a better lifestyle. And so I went to a coding boot camp here in Atlanta. And then next thing you know, I was at this startup, and that startup was a really cool place to start, but I was not able to keep up, honestly. And so I got let go along with a few other junior engineers. Then started hustling, got into CNN, where I worked for 5.5 years. And now I'm taking a career break and trying out different creative things, including creating some YouTube videos. So I'm trying to share things that have helped me, because my last 2 years at CNN were best years I've ever had working at a job. So working at a corporate job. I think honestly my favorite job ever was when I was between 17 and 19. I played tennis pretty competitively. I played tennis pretty regularly as a junior. Saying competitively makes it sound like I was extremely good. I played a lot. I didn't play in college or anything, but I did play a lot of tennis. And so at one point there was a tennis teaching pro who asked if I could just hit with people, and he would pay me to just hit with people and while he gave instruction. So I think that was actually the best job I've ever had, being just getting paid to play tennis. But in terms of working at a desk job, the last 2 years were by far the best. And I think it's because of these 4 habits coming up. So thank you for indulging on me on that tangent. But let's get into these 4 things. So the first thing I'm going to say is do some deep work. Do some deep work. And there's a really good book actually called Deep Work by Cal Newport. And deep work, in my own words, what I will say deep work is when you are just completely engrossed in a task. You probably heard the term flow state. It's when you lose sense of time. You're so locked in, and you're just incredibly productive. And your thoughts that are not relevant to the task at hand are minimal, and you keep coming back. Your brain is able to keep coming back. You're in the zone per se. So I would say try to give in, at least in my experience working as a software engineer recently, it can be harder and harder to find space for that deep work, because we've got instant messaging on Slack, you've got meetings in between, you're kind of always checking something. And I think that's fine. I think there are a lot of people, you're able to get work done in that phase. But if you are able to make some time for yourself where you can shut off all comms and just focus, I think that type of work is really enjoyable, and you'll get a lot done. And so what I had to do is sign on a little bit before work. So if the normal work day, you're expected to be responsive around 9 or 9:30. For me, I would a couple times a week sign on a little bit earlier, and even just getting that 1 hour, signing on 7:45 or 8, and just getting that 1 hour before work starts, or just staying on for an extra hour or two, like after work a couple times a week. just to lock in and do that deep work, it made me really get a lot more done and enjoy and just get that really, really large enjoyment from the work, which is why I started coding in the first place. I just love that feeling of being dialed in and building something, and just, you know, you're Googling stuff to help you at the task at hand. You're trying to write some code. You're seeing the progress. You're seeing yourself tackle problems or try different things to get past the problem at hand. And so that to me, that in itself is very fulfilling. So I'll say that. I'll start with tip one, do deep work. Tip number two, which has helped me, is, and I should, before I'm gonna keep throwing in tangents because I'm still trying to find my way of communicating on video, but got to throw in a little bit of disclaimer. I'm definitely not the best engineer in the world. I was a mid-level engineer at CNN, and there are people who run laps around me. I think I've grown a lot. I think I've done really well. I've done really well in terms of how I am now versus how I was when I started, in terms of my familiarity with technologies and just the stuff I've built. I can't even imagine building the stuff I built when I first started writing code. Now this will be when I was first getting into it 6 to 7 years ago. So I've grown a lot, but anyway, this video is just to make your job more fun. And so hopefully so take everything I'm saying. I hope it's useful, but I'm not claiming to be some expert software engineer. Let's get that disclaimer out of the way. Let's go to the next one. So the second one is lift weights or do some sort of exercise. If you have the good fortune to be able to do any sort of exercise, do a lot of it if you can, because this is what happened to me at around, I think I was 26 or 27, and I was just in the office, and I was honestly just thinking about quitting my job just to go work at a bar or work in construction or just do something that allowed me to move and physically move, because every single day I would be in the office, and around, usually for some reason it was around 2 or 3, I would have this surge of I would just have so much physical energy that I couldn't expend, and I'd just be sitting at my desk really antsy and wanting to move around. And I noticed it was kind of interesting because if I was injured or something, if I had a sports injury, I didn't have this. It's almost as if subconsciously I knew that it was good for me to rest. But if I was not injured, I just had this large energy that was not going away from just pressing buttons on my machine. So with the benefit of working from home, even if you don't work from home, I think if you can exercise a lot, before work, that's the habit when I was having the most fun at work, it's usually when I'm working out a lot, either before or after work. And it's the whole mindset flips, because before I was getting all upset about the fact that I couldn't move. And I was just having to sit there to do my job, even though I liked my job. Afterwards, after this switch, what happened was I felt as if I was actually kind of excited to sit down, because I'd just be working out a good amount to the point where I just wanted to sit down and I was just excited to sit down, especially working from home. I'm usually just trying to eat some high protein, plant-based meals on meetings and stuff. And it just feels good to just sit down and write some code and do some computer work actually after moving around, especially in the morning. So if you can do some sort of exercise, I like yoga, lifting, playing tennis, obviously. Running, I've been really into sprinting recently, more than longer distance running, but some sort of exercise I think can really, really enhance your day. People talk about this all the time, but I think it's really important for engineers, because you're sitting so much, so that it's just something about it. It's just sitting all day just doesn't feel right. If you have the privilege of exercising, I think you really should you should take advantage of that. All right, so then this next tip, number 3, which helped me have a lot more fun, is if you are a software engineer, you probably work with some really cool people, really intelligent people. And I think what you can do is if you can schedule some calls with those people. And this kind of ties into the tip that we were just talking about, especially if you work from home. Go on a walk while you talk to them, and schedule some calls with people, because you probably work with some really interesting people. I know it's easy to just get lost in ticket work and whatnot, but I think if you can schedule some calls with people you admire, whether they're higher than you on the career ladder or lower, just people who you think are interesting people and are cool. There are a lot of people who I got to work with at CNN who I just thought were really, really sharp, really, really driven, really just cool. Just they had cool hobbies that I got to listen to and learn about. So schedule calls with people you admire, and ideally go on a walk during the calls so you can get some movement in and, you know, enjoy being outside. And this brings me to the last one, which is number 4, which is save cash for things that are fun. Obviously, you're a software engineer. You're probably investing some money in real estate or cryptocurrency or investments of some sort. I think that's great. What honestly helped me a lot was savings. Helped me have a lot of fun was saving for things that are just fun. So for me, that looked like I got a Martin guitar a couple years ago, and I just can't put that thing down. I just want to play that all the time, and that was such an awesome thing to save for and purchase. And another one for me is what I'm doing right now, which is a career break. I've always wanted to just take a break, and maybe I'll do a separate video on this. I've always wanted to just take a break, and I say always. I guess I technically took a break one time before when I left investment banking. But I like the idea of taking a chunk of time to be on my own time, to work on interests that are just have been looming for a while. You know, for me, that's songwriting, it's traveling, it's trying new things like this, creating YouTube videos. So this was a big one. Just saving, you know, as a software engineer, if you're working hard and you're moving up, you're probably getting paid decently well. I mean, getting paid well is always relative, right? But you're probably getting paid enough where you can save a good chunk of change each month. And I'm not going to give financial advice, but I would say what made the job more fun was knowing that I just had 1 or 2 purchases that were just honestly not practical, just to really just for fun. And so that's it. Those are the 4 things I would say. Yeah, so it's do deep work. To recap, do deep work, schedule time for deep work, actual company deep work. You'll feel really good. I started feeling a lot better once I started putting in. It's strange. I started putting in hours outside of the company for the company, and I started enjoying the work more because I felt more bought in. So do some deep work, lift some weights or some sort of exercise. Weights. I've been liking weights, yoga, sprinting, but I think any exercise will fit the bill. Schedule calls with people you enjoy talking to and admire. You know, I could have been better about that during my time. And when I go back, I could have been better about that. Now I don't really know what's coming next for me, but there's a good chance I'm going to be going back to work at some point. And so I'm going to be better at that, scheduling calls with people I admire. And then the last thing is, just save some cash for things that are fun, you know, be pragmatic. You probably already are if you're an engineer, but have some fun. And so I hope that's helpful. Let me know if you have any comments or tips that made your job more fun. I honestly think doing stuff to make your job more fun is important, because you spend a lot of time doing your job. So these are 4 things that helped me. Please drop any tips that you have in the comments below. Like I said, there's a good chance I'm going to be an engineer again soon after this little career break, and I could use some tips to enhance my experience. So yeah, take care. If this video helped you, give me a like and subscribe. Again, I'm trying to figure out whether or not, I guess it doesn't matter whether or not you like or subscribe for me, but I'm still on the path of figuring out what I'm going to do with all this creative time. I've been playing a bunch of guitar, and starting to create these YouTube videos. But if this was helpful at all, give me a like and subscribe, and I will probably make another one of these soon. All right, see ya.